Okay, hi everybody. It's our fourth hour of this week, and we will continue from where we left off in our third video, third lesson. We were talking about Ephesus. It's my favorite ancient city in Turkey. I very much love it, and I highly recommend you to go and see if you haven't already done so. Okay. Now, we said in this city, in Ephesus, there are also many levels, and the public buildings of the city are arranged in a rectangular street pattern going back to Hellenistic days. They include, these public buildings include the theater, which was capable of seating nearly 25,000 spectators, the Agora, which is a marketplace, and this was surrounded by stoas. Stoas means a sheltered promenades. Yani üstü kapalı yayaların yürüdüğü üstü kapalı yol anlamında arkadaşlar. And these buildings and stoas date from the time of Severus, and there is the Library of Celsus, which is well known because of its facade, and it's a very well-known building in the world, and there are also an immense array of baths and gymnasiums. Okay, all these buildings are to the west of Pion, and it's on its north side is the stadium, and north of this is the gymnasium of Publius Vedius Antoninus. Wow, what a name! It is a relatively small but very complete building, and there is also a notable chapel for the cult of Antoninus Pius. Well, in the south of Pion, were the Odeum. It was a roofed semicircular theater to hold 1,400 people. And also, there are a series of fountains and aqueducts which cross the valley from Coressus. Okay, well, of the early Byzantine city, besides the stretch of curtain wall on Panayır Mountain, there remained the ruined church of Seven Sleepers, Yedi Uyuyanlar Kilisesi'ni bilirsiniz. Church of Seven Sleepers to its east, and the long double Basilica of the Virgin, the scene of the council, to its west. This basilica was rebuilt several times, and it was largely around this building between the great gymnasium and the stadium of the classical city that the early Byzantine Ephesians gathered. Okay, now a very famous temple of Artemis. Much of Ephesus' ancient history is unfortunately unrecorded. What is known is that in the 7th century BC, Ephesus fell under the rule of the Lydian kings and became a thriving city where men and women enjoyed equal opportunities. It was also the birthplace of the renowned philosopher Heraclitus. Well, the Lydian king Croesus, who ruled from 560 BC to 547 BC, was most famous for funding the rebuilding of the Temple of Artemis in Ephesus. Artemis was the goddess of the hunt, chastity, childbirth, wild animals, and the wilderness. And she was also one of the most revered Greek deities, one of the most famous Greek gods. And in modern day excavations have revealed that 3 smaller Artemis temples preceded the Croesus temple. In 356 BC, a crazed man named Herostratus burned down the temple of Artemis. Unfortunately, the Ephesians rebuilt the temple even bigger. It was estimated to be 4 times larger than the previous one and became known as one of the 7 wonders of the world. Well, but again, unfortunately, this temple too was later destroyed and never rebuilt again. Today, little remains of it, and although some of its remnants reside in the British Museum, including a column with Christ's signature, only little remains can be seen here. Okay, well, in 546 BC, Ephesus fell to the Persian Empire, along with the rest of Anatolia. And Ephesus continued to thrive even as other Ionian cities rebelled against Persian rule. And in 334 BC, Alexander the Great defeated the Persians and entered Ephesus. And upon his death, upon Alexander the Great's death in 323 BC, one of his generals, Lysimachus, took over the city and renamed it as Arseneia. Well, he moved Ephesus, the original Ephesus, moved its place 2 miles away and built a new harbor and new defensive walls around the new city. The Phasian people, however, didn't like it and wouldn't relocate, and they remained in their homes until he forced them to move. Well, in 281 BC, Lysimachus was killed at the Battle of Corepedium, and the city was renamed Ephesus again. In 263 BC, Ephesus changed hands again, fell under Egyptian rule, along with much of the Seleucid Empire. While the Seleucid king Antiochus III took back Ephesus, it changed hands again in 196 BC. However, after being defeated at the Battle of Magnesia 6 years later, this time Ephesus fell under Pergamon rule. Well, then what happened? Under Roman rule, King Attalus of Pergamon left Ephesus to the Roman Empire in his will in 129 BC, and when he died, the city became the seat of the regional Roman governor. The reforms of Caesar Augustus brought Ephesus to its most prosperous time, which lasted until the 3rd century AD. Well, most of the Ephesian ruins seen today, such as the enormous amphitheater, the library of Celsus, the public space, the agora, the aqueducts, and so on, were built or rebuilt during Augustus's reign. Well, during the reign of Tiberius, Ephesus flourished as a port city. A business district was opened around 43 BC to service the massive amounts of goods arriving or departing from the man-made harbor and from caravans traveling the ancient royal road. According to some sources, Ephesus was at the time second only to Rome as a cosmopolitan center of culture and commerce. Yani Roma'dan sonra ikinci sırada geliyormuş. Then Christianity begins, and Ephesus played a vital role in the spread of Christianity. Starting in the 1st century AD, notable Christians such as St. Paul and St. John visited and rebuked the cults of Artemis, and winning many Christian converts in the process. Mary, the mother of Jesus, is thought to have spent her last year in Ephesus with St. John. Her house and John's tomb can be visited there today. Well, Ephesus is mentioned multiple times in the New Testament, and the biblical book of Ephesians, written around 60 AD, is thought to be a letter from St. Paul to Ephesian Christians. Well, although some scholars question the source. Well, not every Ephesian was open to post-Christian message. Chapter 19 in the book of Acts tells a riot started by a man named Demetrius, and Demetrius made silver coins featuring the likeness of Artemis. Efendim gel oğlum. Gel. Gel. Efendim. Miyavlıyor. Efendim gel. Gel herkes görsün. Yok kaçtı peki. Well, tired of Paul's attacks on the goddess he worshipped, he worried that the spread of Christianity would ruin his trade, and Demetrius plotted a riot and enticed a large crowd to turn against Paul and his disciples. Ephesian officials, however, protected Paul and his followers, and eventually Christianity became the city's official religion. And after that, the decline of Ephesus begins. In 262 AD, the Goths destroyed Ephesus, including the Temple of Artemis. Some restoration of the city took place, but it never regained its splendor. In 431 AD, the council was held in the Church of St. Mary, which confirmed the Virgin Mary as the Mother of God. Well, Emperor Theodosius erased all traces of Artemis during his reign. He banned freedom of worship, closed the schools and temples, and forbade women many of the rights they had enjoyed before. The Temple of Artemis was destroyed, and its ruins used to build Christian churches, and the Temple of Artemis was never built again. Well, during the Byzantine era, Constantine the Great declared Christianity the official religion of all Rome and made Constantinople the capital of the Roman Eastern Empire. This left Ephesus, a city already facing decline due to accumulating silt in its harbor, and left to fend increasingly for itself, and lost all income from commerce, it seems. The city relied heavily on its iconic places of worship, including Artemis Temple, to attract visitors to support its struggling economy. Still, Ephesus was a port city. Well, with a deteriorating harbor, yes, but there was only so much that could be done to literally keep it afloat. And in the 6th and 7th centuries AD, a massive earthquake and the harbor's continued decline left Ephesus a shell of the city it used to be. And Arab invasions forced most of the population of Ephesus to flee and start a new settlement elsewhere. Ephesus continued to deteriorate, although it experienced a brief period of growth and construction under the rule of the Seljuk Turks in the 14th century. Well, the Ottoman Empire took final control of Ephesus in the 15th century. However, the city was in dire straits, its harbor practically gone and useless, and by the end of that century, Ephesus was totally abandoned at last. And its legacy left to archaeologists, historians, and the thousands of visitors to flock to the region each year to see the ancient ruins. Yes, it's a sad end for a gorgeous, amazing city. Well, everything has an end, I think. And now it's the end of our 4th lesson, and the final lesson of this week, in our 5th video, I will continue to talk about other things, but Ephesus is finished, and after that we will continue to the 10th week and so on. Okay, and If you have any questions, you can ask in the forums, and I will see you again in the next video, the next week's videos. Okay, bye bye. See you. Bye. Take good care.